There is a light hidden from the eyes, yet it surrounds us with every moment. It does not dwell in the distance of stars or the silence of heavens, but in the secret nearness of our being. This light does not reveal itself through noise or argument. It waits quietly, veiled, inviting the heart to awaken. Ibn Arabi teaches that when the veil is lifted, the seeker discovers a brilliance closer than breath itself, a presence that was never absent. Nearness is often imagined as distance overcome, as steps taken until the goal is reached. But the nearness of the divine is unlike any other nearness. It is not measured in time, nor space, nor effort. Ibn Arabi teaches that the beloved is nearer to us than we are to ourselves, a closeness that defies all forms of measurement. This nearness is so complete that we overlook it, searching in horizons what is already present in our very being. The seeker may wander through deserts, climb mountains, or sit in deep meditation, believing the goal lies far away. Yet the beloved is not reached by travel, for he is present in every place and moment. The nearness that cannot be measured is not attained by footsteps, but by awakening. It is realized when the heart stops looking outward and begins to recognize the intimacy already surrounding it. Human love teaches a fragment of this mystery. When we are near to one we love, words are unnecessary, and presence itself becomes a language. How much greater, then, is the nearness of the one who breathes life into our being? Ibn Arabi tells us that every heartbeat, every breath, is already a conversation between the soul and the beloved, even when we are unaware. This nearness is hidden not because it is far, but because it is overwhelming in its closeness. Just as the eye cannot see itself without a mirror, the heart often struggles to perceive what is most intimate. The divine surrounds us, sustains us, and fills us. Yet the ego veils this reality with distractions. To awaken is not to bring the beloved closer, but to uncover the blindness that prevents us from seeing. In the rhythm of breath, nearness speaks. Each inhale carries the trace of divine generosity, each exhale the sign of surrender. This ceaseless exchange reminds us that life itself is woven with intimacy. No one needs to teach the body how to breathe. It is carried by a presence deeper than will. The nearness that cannot be measured sustains every life silently, without condition. The prophets carried this awareness fully, living as if God's nearness was their constant companion. For them, the beloved was not an idea, nor a concept to be proven, but a living reality closer than the tongue to speech. Their lives remind us that to walk in the world with this awareness is to transform every action into remembrance. In such nearness, even silence becomes prayer. The nearness of the divine cannot be reduced to emotion or thought. Feelings rise and fade, thoughts shift like clouds, but the beloved's nearness is constant. It is the ground beneath both joy and sorrow, both clarity and confusion. Ibn Arabi tells us that when the heart awakens to this truth, stability arrives not because circumstances change, but because the nearness of the real never wavers. To measure nearness requires comparison, but how can one compare with the infinite? The sun does not come closer when we feel its warmth, nor farther when clouds appear. It shines always. In the same way, the beloved does not move toward or away from us. It is we who move in awareness or forgetfulness. The measure is not in his nearness, but in our perception. Every act of remembrance unveils this intimacy. When the heart whispers the divine name, it does not summon something far, but uncovers what is already here. The name is a key that unlocks recognition, not arrival. Just as a lamp reveals the furniture already present in a room, remembrance reveals the nearness that was never absent. The mystic's path is to live in this constant awareness, not to make the beloved nearer, but to dissolve the illusion of distance. When the veil lifts, the world itself glows with nearness. The breeze becomes his caress, the stars, his signs, the silence, his presence. The ordinary is transfigured, for the soul finally recognizes the nearness it once overlooked. The nearness that cannot be measured is also the secret of unity. If the beloved is nearer than our own breath, then separation itself is illusion. The heart may feel distance, but in reality, there is none. Ibn Arabi reminds us that every longing for God is already God's nearness calling us. The thirst itself is proof that the water is within reach. This nearness brings both awe and intimacy. Awe, because the infinite embraces every part of creation. Intimacy, because that same infinite dwells in the hidden chambers of the heart. To live in this paradox is the essence of the mystic way, to tremble before the vastness of the real while resting in the gentleness of its embrace. The signs of this nearness are endless. It is found in the softness of a child's hand, in the stillness of night, in the sudden peace that descends without reason. Each is a reminder that the beloved is not discovered but disclosed. Every sign is a letter in the eternal scripture written across creation, spelling out the truth that the divine is always here. The heart that realizes this intimacy no longer fears abandonment. Even in solitude, it feels companionship. Even in hardship, it feels support. This is not because life becomes easy, but because the heart knows it is never alone. The nearness that cannot be measured transforms sorrow into longing, longing into remembrance, and remembrance into union. To discover this nearness is to discover ourselves. For the beloved is not an external visitor, but the very ground of our being. Ibn Arabi reminds us, the real is the life of our life, the soul of our soul, the breath of our breath. To awaken to this is to unveil the secret of intimacy, that what we sought has always been here, closer than our own breath, a nearness beyond all measure. Within every soul burns a flame, unseen by the eyes, yet felt by the Spirit. It is not kindled by human hands, nor sustained by worldly fire. This hidden flame is the spark of divine presence, placed in the heart before the dawn of time. It flickers quietly in all beings, waiting for remembrance to fan it into light. The flame does not consume, but illuminates. Unlike earthly fire, it does not destroy what it touches, but reveals the truth of its essence. In the warmth of this flame, the heart begins to see clearly, not with the sight of the eyes, but with the inner vision of the soul. It is by this light that illusions fall away. Every longing we feel is a smoke rising from this secret fire. When we yearn for beauty, truth, or love, it is the hidden flame speaking. We mistake it for desire for the world, but in truth, it is the soul's memory of its source. The fire does not rest until it is reunited with the light from which it came. Silence is the air that feeds this flame. In the noise of the world, it burns dim, smothered by distractions and forgetfulness. But when the heart withdraws into stillness, even for a moment, the flame brightens. In that glow, the seeker discovers a warmth that no comfort of the world can provide. The hidden flame within the heart is also a guide. It whispers in moments of doubt, urging us toward what is pure and real. Even when we wander far, it does not extinguish. It waits patiently, glowing faintly until we return. Its persistence is the mercy of the beloved, who never leaves the soul without a trace of his presence. This flame is also the secret of love. All love, whether for people, places, or beauty, is a reflection of the deeper love burning within. The flame seeks its true beloved, and in every embrace it searches for that ultimate union. Ibn Arabi says that it is through love that the hidden fire grows, consuming the veils that keep us from the real. The fire is hidden because its brilliance is too intense for the heedless eye. If it were fully revealed, the ego would vanish in an instant. So, it remains veiled, giving only glimpses, enough to awaken, but not to overwhelm. Each glimpse is a mercy, each spark a reminder that something greater burns within. In times of sorrow, the flame reveals itself most clearly. Pain strips away illusions, and in that rawness, the fire glows brighter. The heart discovers that beneath loss and despair, something indestructible remains. This hidden flame cannot be quenched by grief, nor drowned by tears. It is eternal, for it carries the imprint of the divine. The mystic learns to tend this flame as one tends a sacred lamp. With remembrance as oil and love as wick, the fire is kept alive. The more it is nourished, the more it spreads, until the whole being shines with its light. To see a soul illuminated by this fire is to witness the reflection of the Beloved. The flame within the heart does not belong to us alone. It connects us to every other being, for it is the same fire burning in all. Recognizing this unity, the mystic learns compassion, for, in every face, he sees the glow of the same eternal light. To harm another is to smother one's own flame. When the flame grows strong, it transforms the heart into a sanctuary. No darkness can linger there, for the light drives it away. The heart becomes a mirror, reflecting the real, radiant with qualities of mercy, wisdom, and love. Such a heart is no longer a dwelling of self, but a lantern carried for others on the path. Yet the flame demands honesty. It cannot burn where the heart clings to falsehood. Every lie, every attachment, every arrogance dims its glow. To live truthfully is to clear the heart of ashes, so the fire may rise unhindered. In this way, the path of purification is not punishment, but the uncovering of what already burns within. The hidden flame is also the secret of resilience. Though storms may rage outside, the inner fire endures. Even when the world seems cold, the heart carries its warmth. This is why the mystic does not despair, for he knows that the flame within is eternal and cannot be extinguished by the winds of circumstance. At its height, the hidden flame unites the seeker with the source. The fire burns away all sense of separation, leaving only light upon light. In this union, the heart no longer says, "I" or "mine," for all belongs to the one who kindled the flame. The seeker becomes fire itself, not consuming, but radiating. And when the journey ends, the soul realizes the flame was never hidden at all. It was always there, waiting for the heart to notice. What seemed small was infinite. What seemed distant was near. Ibn Arabi teaches that this fire is the very secret of existence, the divine longing to be known, burning within every heart until the veil is lifted and the flame reveals its true brilliance. Silence is not the absence of speech, but the presence of a deeper truth. Words can only carry fragments, while silence embraces the whole. Ibn Arabi tells us that there are realities too vast for letters, too delicate for sound. In silence, the heart begins to hear what language cannot contain, and the soul awakens to meanings hidden from the tongue. Words are like vessels on the surface of the sea, floating and fragile. Silence, however, is the depth itself. In silence, we sink below appearances into the vast ocean of the unseen. There, the Beloved speaks without voice, and the heart responds without sound. What cannot be spoken can still be known, carried by the stillness that reveals what words conceal. The prophets and mystics often retreated into silence, not because they lacked knowledge, but because they touched a reality too overflowing for speech. Silence became their prayer, their revelation, their union. In the absence of words, their presence itself became language, a light that others could feel even when no sound was uttered. Silence is also a mirror. In quiet, the heart sees itself clearly, without distraction. Thoughts rise and fall, emotions pass across the surface. But beneath all movement lies a stillness that does not change. This is where the Beloved resides, not in the noise of constant chatter, but in the silence that reveals the eternal ground of being. Words can veil as much as they reveal. A statement may describe truth, but it may also reduce it, limiting the infinite to finite expression. Silence, on the other hand, does not confine. It leaves space for truth to expand, for the real to disclose itself without being bound by human interpretation. Silence is the language of openness. In silence, the heart hears what the ear cannot. The subtle currents of presence, the unspoken guidance, the quiet companionship of the Beloved, all are more easily felt when words fall away. This is why the mystics say that silence is the highest remembrance. It is remembrance beyond repetition, beyond sound, where the soul itself becomes prayer. Silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. To the heedless, it feels like nothing, but to the awakened, it is overflowing with meaning. Just as the night sky seems void but holds countless stars, silence appears empty but contains infinite worlds. In that hidden fullness, the seeker discovers realities words could never contain. When silence is embraced, time itself shifts. Minutes stretch into eternity, and the boundaries between past, present, and future blur. The heart enters a space beyond clocks and calendars, where only presence exists. In such silence, the soul tastes the timelessness of the divine, and the illusion of separation begins to dissolve. Silence is the cradle of love. Lovers often sit together without speaking, yet feel more connected than in hours of conversation. This is a shadow of the soul's intimacy with the beloved. In silence, no explanations are needed, for presence itself is enough. The hidden flame of love burns brightest when words fall away. In moments of silence, the veil grows thinner. The noise of the world often hides the nearness of the real, but in stillness, that nearness shines. The heart perceives that what it sought outside is already within. The beloved was not distant, only concealed by noise. Silence uncovers the presence that was never absent. Silence is also a test. It confronts us with ourselves, forcing us to face the restlessness we hide beneath speech. At first, silence can feel heavy, even unbearable, but if endured, it transforms into peace. The storm of thoughts subsides, and the hidden river of serenity begins to flow. This is the gift waiting beyond the discomfort of silence. The mystics speak of the speech of silence, a paradox that only experience can resolve. It is the moment when silence itself communicates, when the heart knows without hearing, when truth descends without words. This speech is more certain than any voice, for it comes not from the mind, but from the source itself. In the rhythm of creation, silence is the pause that gives meaning to sound. Music without silence is chaos, and words without space lose their depth. In the same way, life without silence becomes shallow. Silence allows the heart to breathe, to rest, to open. It is the sacred interval through which meaning flows. Silence teaches humility. It reminds us that not everything can be spoken, not everything can be explained. The infinite cannot be trapped in letters. To bow before silence is to acknowledge the vastness of the real and the limits of the self. In this humility, the heart becomes receptive, ready to receive what words could never deliver. When words reach their limits, silence begins its work. It unveils what was hidden, reveals what was concealed, and carries the soul into depths beyond language. Ibn Arabi reminds us that silence is not the absence of communication, but its highest form, the place where the heart and the beloved meet directly, without need for sound, closer than breath, beyond all words. The veil is often misunderstood as a barrier, a wall that separates the soul from its beloved. Yet, Ibn Arabi reveals another truth. The veil is not distance, but mercy. It is the soft curtain that protects the heart from a brilliance too overwhelming to bear all at once. Without it, the seeker would be blinded, unable to grow in the light of such nearness. The sun veils itself with the horizon, so that the eyes may accustom themselves to its rising. In the same way, the real veils his presence, with forms, signs, and stages, allowing the soul to gradually awaken. What feels like absence is often preparation, a way for the heart to expand its capacity to receive the infinite radiance of truth. The veil teaches patience. If everything were revealed in an instant, longing would vanish, and the sweetness of discovery would be lost. The dance of concealment and unveiling gives the journey its meaning. Each layer removed deepens the heart's gratitude, reminding the seeker that the beloved is always present, even when hidden. Mercy is woven into the fabric of veiling. When the soul feels distance, it is protected from the intoxication of full revelation. Too much nearness, too soon, could shatter the vessel of the heart. So, the beloved unveils gradually, offering glimpses in proportion to our readiness. The veil is not rejection, but careful love. Every form in creation is itself a veil. Mountains, oceans, trees, and even the self are garments through which the divine discloses himself. To mistake the veil for the end is illusion, but to see the veil as a sign is wisdom. The world becomes a tapestry of veils, each concealing and revealing at the same time. The mystic learns to love the veil. He does not curse it, nor rush to tear it away. Instead, he accepts it as part of the path, recognizing that without veiling, longing would not grow, and without longing, union would not be sweet. The veil is the space where desire matures, where the heart ripens for intimacy with the real. The veil is also a teacher of humility. It reminds the seeker that the infinite cannot be contained in human grasp. What is hidden is not denied. It is beyond comprehension. To bow before the veil is to accept our smallness before the vastness of the beloved. In this acceptance, the heart becomes ready for unveiling. Darkness itself can be a veil of mercy. When the soul walks through trials, it may feel abandoned, yet it is in these moments that the beloved is nearest, shaping the heart through unseen hands. The pain that feels like distance is often a cover for the most intimate care. The veil is mercy, disguised as hardship. The prophets experienced veiling before receiving their mission. Solitude, silence, and waiting prepared their hearts for the weight of revelation. Their veils were not punishments, but sanctuaries, giving them strength to bear what would later be unveiled. In their stories, the seeker finds reassurance that veiling is not neglect, but divine design. Veiling preserves wonder. If the heart saw the full reality constantly, it would grow accustomed, and awe would fade. By veiling and unveiling, the beloved ensures that every encounter feels new, every glimpse fresh. The cycle of concealment keeps love alive, renewing desire with each unveiling. The veil is not uniform. It shifts with each soul. For some, it is pride. For others, fear. For others still, the illusion of control. Whatever form it takes, the veil always carries within it a hidden mercy. For in wrestling with it, the seeker grows. The veil becomes the very means of transformation. In moments of unveiling, the heart realizes that the veil was never absolute separation. The beloved was present all along, speaking through silence, guiding through absence, embracing through concealment. The veil is not the opposite of presence, but a different form of it, presence disguised to train the soul's sight. The mystic comes to see the veil as a gift. Just as a lover's absence sharpens desire, so too does the divine veil sharpen remembrance. Without it, there would be no longing, no seeking, no sweetness in arrival. The veil is therefore not an obstacle, but part of the love play between the soul and the beloved. At the end of the path, the seeker discovers that veil and unveiling are both acts of mercy. What seemed like distance was intimacy in disguise. What seemed like concealment was protection. Ibn Arabi reminds us that there is no true separation, only the shifting of veils, each one a gesture of care, each one guiding the soul deeper into the embrace of the real. And when the heart finally sees through the veil, it does not despise it but honors it. For without the veil, the journey would not exist, and without the journey, the discovery of nearness would lose its meaning. The veil is mercy, not distance, the beloved's way of drawing the seeker closer, step by step, into the eternal light that waits just beyond. The eyes of the body reveal forms, colors, and distances, but they stop at appearances. The mystic seeks another vision, the eye that does not belong to flesh, but to the heart. This eye does not depend on light from the sun, but on the radiance of the unseen. Ibn Arabi reminds us that true seeing begins when the heart opens to what lies beyond form. When the outward eye looks, it measures, compares, and separates. It says, "This is near, that is far, this is mine, that is yours." But the inward eye does not divide. It sees unity in diversity, the one shining through the many. With this vision, the boundaries of separation fade, and every face becomes a reflection of the beloved. To see with the inner eye requires polishing. Just as a mirror must be cleansed of dust to reflect clearly, so too, the heart must be purified of arrogance, greed, and distraction. When these veils are lifted, the inner sight awakens. The world remains the same, yet it appears entirely new, glowing with meanings invisible to ordinary vision. The eye beyond sight does not reject the physical eye, but completes it. What we see with the senses is a sign, a symbol pointing beyond itself. A rose is not only a flower, it is a veil of beauty, hinting at the eternal. The mystic learns to read the world like a script, each object a letter, each event a verse written by the beloved. Sometimes, the outward eye sees absence, where the inward eye sees presence. In solitude, others may see emptiness, but the heart's eye sees companionship. In hardship, others may see misfortune, but the inner eye sees guidance. What looks like loss to the outer sight is often hidden mercy to the sight beyond sight. Dreams are hints of this inner vision. When the body sleeps, the outer eye closes, but the inner eye awakens, perceiving truths in symbols and images. Ibn Arabi often spoke of dreams as a bridge between the seen and unseen, a place where the heart practices seeing beyond the surface. Every dream reminds us that vision is not confined to the eyes. The eye beyond sight is nourished by love. Love dissolves the rigid boundaries that keep the heart blind. When love is present, everything glows with meaning. A glance, a word, a moment of silence becomes a revelation. Love opens the heart's vision, allowing it to perceive what the intellect alone cannot grasp. This seeing cannot be forced. It is given as a gift, unfolding in its own time. The seeker's task is only to prepare to polish the mirror of the heart, to surrender pride, to live in remembrance. When readiness ripens, the beloved lifts the veil, and suddenly the eye beyond sight opens, perceiving what was always there. The outward eye may see difference and division, religions, nations, faces, and forms. The inward eye sees the unity behind them all. It does not erase diversity, but recognizes it as reflections of a single source. For the mystic, to see with the heart's eye is to walk in a world where everything whispers, "I am from Him." The eye beyond sight also sees within. It gazes into the hidden chambers of the self, unveiling fears, attachments, and forgotten truths. This is why the mystic path requires courage. To awaken the inner vision is to confront what lies beneath the surface, both light and shadow. Only by facing oneself can the heart learn to face the beloved. This vision brings humility. When the inner eye opens, the soul realizes how small it is before the infinite, and yet how deeply embraced. The heart sees both majesty and intimacy. Majesty in the vastness of the real, intimacy in the beloved's nearness. Such seeing transforms the seeker, softening pride and deepening surrender. To see with the eye beyond sight is to live in constant unveiling. Every day, every encounter, every breath becomes a revelation. Nothing is ordinary anymore, for the heart perceives the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. Life itself becomes scripture, and the mystic becomes both reader and witness. This seeing brings peace. When the heart perceives the unity behind all events, fear and despair lose their grip. Even in chaos, the inner eye sees order. Even in sorrow, it sees wisdom. The soul no longer feels abandoned, for it recognizes the beloved in every circumstance. The eye beyond sight turns confusion into trust. The prophets carried this vision fully. They saw with both eyes outward and inward, reading the signs of the world, while perceiving the source behind them. Their lives were lanterns for others, illuminating paths that ordinary sight could not reveal. To follow their example is to seek not only to look, but to truly see. Seeing with the eye beyond sight is not about abandoning the world, but about perceiving it more deeply. The forms remain, but their meanings unfold. The veils remain, but their light shines through. Ibn Arabi teaches that this is the destiny of the soul, to awaken the eye of the heart, to see the real in all things, and to recognize that every vision is already filled with the presence of the beloved. Breath is the hidden thread that binds the soul to life, yet few pause to feel its mystery. Each inhale is a gift of arrival, each exhale a gesture of return. Ibn Arabi reminds us that breath itself carries the secret of nearness, for within it flows a radiance unseen by the eyes. To notice this is to realize that every breath is a sign of the Beloved's presence. The radiance of breath is subtle. It does not dazzle like the sun or thunder like the storm. It glows quietly, sustaining without announcement. It is the gentle proof of divine generosity, given moment after moment. In the unnoticed rhythm of breathing, the heart discovers a hidden light that whispers, "You are never alone." The seeker learns that breath is more than air. It is remembrance in motion. With each inhalation, the soul receives life anew. With each exhalation, it surrenders back to the source. This cycle mirrors the eternal flow of giving and returning, a rhythm of love written into the body. In this rhythm, radiance shines, constant and unbroken. Every sigh carries a trace of this light. In sorrow, breath softens the heart, and in joy, it expands the chest with ease. The Beloved speaks through both, revealing that even the most ordinary act of living is infused with meaning. What appears as simple breathing is in truth a ceaseless dialogue between Creator and creation. Breath is also the purifier of the heart. In moments of stillness, when breath deepens, the inner dust begins to settle. The noise of thought quiets, and a subtle clarity emerges. This clarity is the radiance of awareness, a light that does not come from outside, but awakens from within, unveiled by the gentle tide of breathing. The mystic traditions describe breath as the bridge between body and spirit. It is the one act shared by both realms, anchoring the soul while sustaining the body. When breath is conscious, the seeker feels this union clearly, matter and spirit intertwined, luminous and inseparable. In this awareness, every breath becomes sacred. Even the silence between breaths is radiant. In that pause, brief yet infinite, the heart touches stillness. It is there, in the quiet between giving and receiving, that the soul senses eternity. The radiance of breath is not only in motion, but also in the stillness that frames it, reminding us that the infinite dwells in both sound and silence. Breath is a teacher of presence. It cannot be stored, it cannot be borrowed, it cannot be delayed. It can only be lived in the moment. This insistence on immediacy draws the soul into now, where the Beloved is always found. Each breath is therefore a lamp, illuminating the eternal present with its quiet glow. The radiance within breath is not personal. It flows through all creation. The same breath that sustains us moves through animals, trees, oceans, and winds. To recognize this is to see unity in diversity, to feel the shared light that pulses through all beings. In this awareness, compassion blooms naturally, for one breath connects the entire world. When the heart awakens to this truth, ordinary life transforms. Eating, walking, speaking, all become illuminated, carried by the rhythm of radiant breath. No act is too small, no moment too plain, for each is sustained by a light too vast to measure. Life itself becomes worship, and breathing becomes prayer without words. The radiance of breath also reveals the fragility of existence. Every inhale is given, not earned. Every exhale could be the last. To live with this awareness is not despair, but gratitude. For each breath becomes a gift, received consciously. Gratitude turns the ordinary into treasure, and breathing into praise. In gatherings of remembrance, breath becomes a flame. When hearts align in dhikr, their breaths weave together like waves of light, lifting each soul higher. This collective radiance reveals the power hidden in something so simple. The breath, unnoticed by many, becomes the very vehicle of transcendence for those who remember. Breath is also the place where the unseen touches the seen. It enters invisibly, yet its effect is undeniable. In this way, it is a living metaphor for the Beloved, invisible to the eyes, but undeniable in presence. Every breath is therefore a reminder. The unseen is not far. It is sustaining us at every instant. In times of fear or turmoil, the radiance of breath steadies the heart. When storms rage outside, A deep breath brings the soul back to center. This is not merely biological calm, but spiritual grounding. To breathe with awareness is to anchor oneself in divine nearness, a refuge that no chaos can shake. The radiance that lives in every breath is the secret of life itself. It is the proof that the beloved has never left, that existence is continuously renewed moment by moment. To awaken to this radiance is to see life not as a possession, but as a ceaseless gift. Ibn Arabi calls us to this awareness, to recognize that each breath is a veil lifted, a light revealed, a whisper of the infinite closer than our own being. The journey of the seeker often begins with the belief that the beloved is distant, hidden somewhere beyond reach. We walk paths, read texts, and sit in silence, thinking we must travel far to find what we seek. Yet, the truth, Ibn Arabi reminds us, is that the presence has never left us. It is here, now, closer than thought, waiting for the heart to awaken. Presence is not something to be achieved, it is something to be recognized. Just as the sun shines, even when clouds obscure it, the beloved's nearness continues, even when we fail to see. Awakening is not about bringing something new into existence, but about lifting the veil that blinds us from what has always been near. The heart carries a memory older than time, the moment when all souls stood before their Lord and testified to his nearness. Awakening is the reawakening of that memory, the return to what was never lost. It is the recognition that separation is an illusion, that the real has been with us in every breath, every step, every heartbeat. We search for signs in the heavens, in books, and in distant teachers, yet the greatest sign is our own existence. To be alive is to carry the mark of presence, the breath that moves through us, the pulse that sustains us. The awareness that perceives all of these are reflections of the one who is always here. Awakening is simply noticing. This presence is subtle, like perfume in the air. It does not force itself upon us, but gently pervades everything. To those distracted, it seems absent. To those attentive, it is overwhelming. Ibn Arabi teaches that the beloved hides in plain sight, waiting for eyes that can see and hearts that can receive. Awakening to presence is not a single event, but a continuous unfolding. Each moment can reveal another layer, another glimpse of intimacy. The heart grows accustomed to seeing signs where, once, it saw only accidents. What once felt ordinary begins to glow with meaning. Life itself becomes the unveiling of presence. The ego resists this awakening, for it thrives on the illusion of distance. It whispers that the beloved is elsewhere, that fulfillment lies in future achievement. Yet, presence calls softly in the opposite direction here, now, in this very breath. To awaken is to turn away from the chase and to rest in the reality already given. The mystics speak of being with God wherever you are. This does not mean carrying him from place to place, but realizing that no place is void of him. The marketplace, the desert, the solitude of the night, the noise of the crowd, all are filled with presence. Awakening is learning to see him in every circumstance. This recognition transforms how we live. Once the heart awakens, every act becomes worship. Every moment becomes sacred. Eating, working, speaking, all are lit with awareness. The seeker no longer divides life into spiritual and worldly, for everything is infused with presence. The entire world becomes a sanctuary. Sometimes awakening happens in stillness, sometimes in crisis. A moment of beauty may open the heart. So too may a moment of grief. Presence uses every circumstance to call us back, reminding us that nothing is outside his embrace. Even pain can become a doorway, for in our weakness, we discover the strength of the one always here. Awakening is also the end of loneliness. When the heart perceives presence, it realizes it has never been alone. Companionship, deeper than human closeness, surrounds it. This realization fills the heart with peace, for it no longer seeks endlessly outside itself. It rests in the nearness of the one who never departs. The presence is both majestic and intimate. It sustains galaxies, yet whispers in the silence of the heart. To awaken is to hold both truths at once, awe before the vastness of the real, and tenderness in the nearness of his love. In this balance, the soul finds its home, trembling and comforted at the same time. Awakening is not escape from the world, but deeper entry into it. The same sky, the same people, the same earth all remain, but the gaze has changed. Now, the heart perceives what was hidden, the real, shining through all forms. The seeker does not abandon creation, but embraces it as the veil through which the beloved reveals himself. The more the heart awakens, the more it sees presence in motion. The rustle of leaves, the laughter of a child, the flow of rivers, all become verses of a living scripture. No moment is devoid of meaning. The beloved is not only in holy places or sacred times, but in every place, every time, waiting to be recognized. Awakening to the presence already here is the realization that the journey was never about reaching a destination. It was about uncovering the truth that has always been. Ibn Arabi calls us to awaken to this intimacy, the nearness that cannot be measured, the light that never departs, the presence that was with us from the beginning and will remain forever. The veil does not stand to keep us away, but to teach us how to see. The light has always been near, woven into our breath, present in our silence, alive in every heartbeat. What Ibn Arabi reminds us is that reality does not need to be reached, it needs to be recognized. When the heart surrenders its distractions, the veil becomes transparent, and what was hidden is revealed, a light that has been closer than our own breath all along.